Welcome to Science for Sleep, where curiosity gently drifts into dreams, and the mysteries of the universe unfold, one soft breath at a time. Tonight, we begin with something so small, so ordinary, you hardly notice it at all. And yet, it's one of the quietest signs that your body is always looking out for you. How do your eyes know when to blink? You don't ask them to, they just do. Like waves brushing the shore, your eyelids rise and fall, without needing thought or effort or command. This is the story of a reflex, a hidden intelligence that works in the background of your life, keeping your vision clear, your eyes protected, and your world stitched seamlessly together. So lie back, close your eyes if they feel ready, and let's explore the soft science of the blink behind the thought. Your eyes close, not because you command them to, not because you think, now would be a good time to blink. They just do. Every few seconds, the lids sweep across the eyes like soft curtains drawn across a window pane. A blink, so ordinary, so brief, it's easy to miss. But inside that moment is a quiet miracle. You do it nearly 15 to 20 times a minute without planning to. That's over 28,000 times a day. And yet, you never really notice it happening. The world goes dark for a fraction of a second, and still, you never feel it disappear. What kind of magic is that? The truth is, blinking is not magic. It's biology. But it's the kind of biology that hums beneath your awareness, like the background rhythm of a gentle tide. Always moving, always returning, never demanding your attention. It's a reflex, yes. But more than that, it's a pattern of protection, perception, and peace. Blinking happens before you have time to think, because that's how your body keeps you safe. In the time it would take you to notice dryness or dust or danger, your body has already acted. Quietly, efficiently. It's as if your nervous system has an intuition of its own, an ancient, knowing intelligence that listens not to your thoughts, but to your needs. There is a tiny structure at the base of your brain called the brainstem. It doesn't speak in words. It doesn't reason. It simply responds. It watches for change, feels the rhythm of the body, and sends out signals. Blink now, breathe now, swallow now. These are not choices. They are responses, and they are incredibly fast. When a speck of dust approaches your eye, your body doesn't wait for you to realize it. It doesn't schedule a meeting with your mind. Your eyelids react within milliseconds. The blink is already done before the thought arrives. This is what's called a reflex arc, a shortcut in your nervous system. Instead of sending information all the way up to your thinking brain and back down again, the message loops quickly through your spinal cord or brainstem. It's like a local call, not a long-distance one. And that loop exists because speed can be the difference between vision and injury, between discomfort and ease. The blink, in its quiet way, is a protective gesture. It shields your eye from light that is too bright, from wind that is too dry, from touch that is too rough. It moistens the surface of the eye and sweeps away debris, almost like a windshield wiper in a gentle drizzle. But unlike a machine, the body doesn't need instruction manuals. It knows. It senses. It responds. All this happens in a place you can't feel and in a time you don't track, but your eyes thank you for it, even if you had nothing to do with it. What's most extraordinary is not just that blinking is automatic. It's that your brain hides it from you. Every time you blink, your vision disappears. Just for a moment, the world goes black. And yet, your brain fills in the missing pieces. Seamlessly, silently. You don't see the blink. You don't feel interrupted. The experience of the world continues like a film with no gaps. This is called saccadic suppression, your brain's gentle editing tool. It erases the blackout, blending before and after into a continuous now. It doesn't want to bother you with flickers and gaps. It wants you to feel steady, whole. So while your eyelids move, your brain smooths over the rough edges. It stitches the moments together like a skilled tailor, leaving no seams behind. In this way, blinking is more than a reflex. It is a choreography between body and brain, a soft, repeated promise that you are being looked after. And perhaps this is the most comforting part. You don't need to think to be protected. You don't need to notice to be cared for. Even when you're unaware, especially when you're unaware, your body is watching. It is responding. A signal hums quietly through your nerves. A muscle contracts. A lid falls. The eye is shielded. The blink is complete. All without fanfare. All without thought. Like breathing. Like a heartbeat. Like the gentle sinking of your body into bed at the end of the day. You are being held by rhythms older than memory. By instincts older than language. By a system designed not just to survive, but to comfort. The blink is your body's whisper. I've got you. And so, the night goes on. Your eyes blink in the dark, without needing to see. Your body watches, even as your mind lets go. But what, exactly, are your eyes protecting? What are these soft curtains keeping so carefully covered? They guard something delicate, something open to the world. Not just sight, but surface. Not just perception, but preservation. To understand this, you must look more closely at the eye itself. Its shimmering layer, its sensitive skin, its need for constant care. Because behind each blink lies a world of vulnerability, and the quiet brilliance of how your body keeps that world alive. Your eyes are open, and in that simple state, you are connected to everything. The soft shape of a room, the way sunlight rests on a wall, the flicker of movement in the distance. Your eyes are your windows to the world, but they are not just open glass. They are alive, wet, responsive, fragile, and yet remarkably strong. Your vision begins not with light, but with the eye's quiet agreement to let it in. Each blink, that soft, nearly invisible curtain that draws itself across your vision, is more than a momentary pause. It is protection, cleansing, renewal. Like a gentle caretaker, your eyelid knows exactly when to sweep across your eye's surface. Sometimes it happens quickly, reflexively, a gust of wind, a flash of light, a dust mote drifting too close. Other times, it's rhythmic, once every few seconds, even if nothing at all seems to demand it. And when it happens, you hardly notice. Your mind doesn't register the brief moment of darkness. It stitches the blink out of your conscious perception like an editor removing the spaces between scenes. The world appears unbroken, continuous. You never really see the gap, but your eyes do, and they are grateful for it. Blinking is the first line of care. Your eyelid isn't just moving skin. It's a wiper like the blade of a car windshield, but softer, finer, more graceful. With each blink, a thin film spreads across the surface of your eye. This film is not just water. It is made of layers, oil, water, and mucus, in perfect proportion. The outer layer is oily, smooth, preventing evaporation. The middle layer is watery, delivering nutrients and oxygen to cells that have no blood vessels of their own. And the innermost layer is sticky, allowing the liquid to cling gently to the eye's surface. Without this coating, your eyes would dry out. Your vision would blur. Pain would rise. But instead, because of this quiet ritual, your eyes stay clear, cool, alive. Even when you stare at a screen, a book, a distant horizon, your blink comes to remind your eyes not to forget themselves. You may not notice it, but your eyes do. They never stop asking for care, and the eyelids never stop giving it. The front of your eye, called the cornea, is curved like a dome. It's transparent, yet packed with nerve endings. In fact, your cornea is one of the most sensitive parts of your entire body. It's like a security alarm. Anything too close, too dry, too sharp, and it signals a warning instantly. That's why a blink can come so quickly. You might not even feel what touched you. A strand of hair, a grain of dust, but your eye knows. It pulls the curtain closed. Fast, firm, protective. And even when you're asleep, your eyelids continue their work. They fold gently over your eyes, dimming the world, locking in moisture, keeping your inner windows from becoming weathered by the long night. Behind closed lids, the eyes may twitch, may move with dreaming, but they are protected. Blinking also works like a pump, guiding tears from the outer corner of the eye to the inner one, where they drain into the nose. That's why you sniffle when you cry. Your tears are flowing in channels, just like rivers in the landscape of your face. The eyelashes, too, are part of this symphony. Small, curved sentinels that catch the tiniest intruders before they reach the eye. They are tuned to detect motion, fluttering in anticipation of dust, wind, or touch. Even the tiniest breeze on your lashes can trigger a blink. All of this happens without your asking, because the eye is not just a tool of vision. It is a living, breathing sensor of the world. It doesn't just see, it feels, it interprets, it protects. And blinking, simple as it seems, is part of a deep, unspoken wisdom, a way your body cares for itself without fanfare. Think of the desert traveler whose eyes blink against the sand-laced wind, the newborn whose blinking has just begun, the artist whose eyes blur after hours of focus. The blink is there for all of them, unnoticed but essential. Sometimes, when emotion rises, your eyes flood with tears, and blinking becomes slower, more labored. This is not just emotion spilling over. It is biology responding to feeling, an echo of your inner world appearing at the surface. And sometimes, blinking is communication, rapid blinks of surprise, slow blinks of trust. In animals, in people, the blink is more than a reflex. It is a signal, a pause, a punctuation mark in the language of the face. When a cat blinks slowly at you, it's said to be a gesture of peace, a soft hello. And when you return it, something ancient is understood without words. So even in silence, even in sleep, the blink continues. Quietly cleaning, quietly protecting, quietly reminding your eyes that they are never alone. You may not remember your last blink. You probably won't notice the next. But your body does. Your brain keeps count. The rhythm of blinking slows as you relax. It grows heavier as night falls. And as your eyes begin to grow dry with sleep, your body knows what to do. The lids lower more often. The tear film thickens. The signals to rest are already being sent. This curtain of protection, This blink is also a veil between awareness and rest, between being awake and letting go. And as your eyes close once more, you may wonder, what tells the brain to blink in the first place? What sparks that command over and over, without thought, without effort? That answer lies deeper still, not in the eye itself, but in the neural pathways that direct its every motion. It lies in the brain behind the blink, somewhere deep inside you, beneath thoughts, beneath words, beneath the soft whisper of intention. A signal stirs. It doesn't ask for your opinion. It doesn't wait for permission. It just happens, a quiet flicker, a blink. You don't notice it most of the time. And yet, every few seconds, your eyelids sweep across your eyes like curtains pulled gently across a window. The motion is smooth, automatic, almost musical. Behind this seemingly simple act lies an elegant chain of silent decisions, all made without your awareness. Let's go there, not just to your eyes, but deeper, to the root of the blink, to the quiet machinery humming beneath your consciousness. At the base of your brain, just above your spinal cord, lies a region called the brainstem, a place so ancient, so foundational, that it's sometimes called your reptilian brain. This is not the place of daydreams or logic. This is where your heartbeat is monitored, where your breath is timed, where life keeps itself going while you sleep, or dream, or forget. And nestled within this brainstem is a small cluster of neurons called the cranial nerve nuclei, including one responsible for your facial nerve, the seventh cranial nerve. This nerve travels outward like a branching river, reaching the muscles that control your blinking. Each time you blink, that nerve fires and your eyelid obeys. You don't command this action. The signal comes from a reflex arc, a kind of shortcut your body uses when things need to happen fast. Like a security system that responds to a sudden light or gust of wind, your brainstem detects, decides, and acts in a flash. You might feel a breeze. Your eyes blink. You might see a sudden flash. Your eyes blink. A dry patch, a speck of dust, a micro-irritation. Blink. These are reflexive blinks, fast, protective, and not under your conscious control. They're processed in the pons, a small lobe in the brainstem that plays traffic cop between your senses and your motor responses. It's not glamorous, but it's vital. A backstage technician making sure the stage lights stay on. And yet, blinking isn't always reflex. Sometimes you blink on purpose. A wink, a slow closing of the eyes before rest, a signal, a pause. These are voluntary blinks, and they travel a different path, this time beginning in the motor cortex, the area of your brain that plans and initiates movements. Here, your intention becomes electricity. Nerve cells fire. The command travels down through the brainstem and out to your eyelids muscles. The muscles that make it happen are called the orbicularis oculi, a name that sounds like a spell, and in a way, it is. This ring-shaped muscle circles your eye like a drawstring, closing it with gentle force. To open your eye again, a different muscle, the levator palpebrae superioris, lifts the lid with care. Like a soft rise and fall, these two muscles move in synchrony, like dancers exchanging weight. But behind the motion is still something quieter, something older. Rhythm. You blink around 15 to 20 times per minute. That's about 1,200 times per hour and over 28,000 times per day. It's a rhythm your brain keeps without thought. A metronome ticking silently in your head, adjusting itself with mood, with light, with focus. When you're alert, you blink more. When you're reading or watching intently, you blink less. When you're tired, your blinks become longer, slower, heavy with the promise of sleep. This rhythmic pattern isn't random. It's your brain adapting to the world. Dopamine, a chemical messenger linked to motivation and alertness, subtly modulates your blink rate. Lower dopamine levels, like when you're tired or bored, slow the blinking. Higher levels increase it. Your eyes are tuned to your emotions, to your focus, to your chemistry. And all of this, from nerve signal to muscle twitch, happens in the time it takes to inhale. There's no fanfare, no inner narration, just a soft closure, a pause. Your brain is blinking for you, so you can keep dreaming, reading, thinking uninterrupted. But here's something even more mysterious. Each blink creates a momentary blackout. Your eyelids close. Light stops entering your eyes. And yet, you don't notice. You don't see darkness. You don't feel the world flicker off and on. Why? Because your brain edits it out. It fills in the gaps. Like an artist restoring a painting, your visual cortex, the part of your brain that processes what you see, smooths over the interruption. It tells your mind, don't worry, nothing is missing. This is called blink suppression, and it's part of the brain's remarkable ability to protect your experience of reality. It filters noise, fills blanks, erases gaps. It creates the illusion of seamlessness, so your life feels continuous, even when your eyes close 20 times a minute. It's gentle deception, but it's also mercy. Your brain is not just protecting your eyes. It's protecting your sense of presence, your connection to the world. And through it all, you remain unaware. Because the point of a reflex is that you don't have to know. Your body takes care of you before your mind even arrives. A blink is just one thread in that safety net, one flash of protection woven deep into your brain's architecture. But it's not alone. There are other reflexes, other ancient whispers of action, other silent guardians keeping you safe before you even realize you needed saving. And if blinking is the curtain, what else moves in your body before you're even aware the stage has changed? You sit quietly, and yet your body is never truly still. Beneath your calm skin, quiet decisions are being made without your consent, but always in your favor. These aren't loud commands or dramatic choices. They're whispers of wisdom, built from thousands of years of survival, humming beneath the surface of your awareness. A blink, a breath, a twitch of a finger pulled from heat. These are your reflexes, the soft guardians of your living body. They do not wait for you to think. They act before thought even has time to form. You are wrapped in a world of things too quick to name. A wasp near your eye, a splash of icy water, the sudden sting of a hot pan. And in those moments, your body knows. It moves. It protects. It flinches, ducks, dodges. Without strategy. Without pause. At the center of this quiet intelligence is your spinal cord, a river of nerve fibers running down your back, tucked safely in a sheath of bone. Most of the time, messages from your body take a scenic route, traveling up to your brain, getting processed, interpreted, understood. But reflexes take a shortcut. They bypass the slow conversation. They speak in emergency code. Imagine it like this. Your body is a country, and your brain is the capital. But reflexes? They're like the village elders who know how to put out a fire before the fire department even gets the call. They're first responders that don't wait for bureaucracy. Take the classic knee-jerk reflex. A doctor taps your tendon and your leg jumps. You didn't plan to move it. You didn't think, now I will extend my leg. It happened faster than thought. That's because the message never had to climb all the way to your brain. It traveled a short loop, from your knee to your spinal cord and back out again, like a boomerang returning home. This loop is called a reflex arc. It's one of your body's simplest circuits, and yet it's life-saving. When you touch something dangerously hot, your fingers recoil in a flash, long before your brain can say, ouch. By the time pain arrives, your body has already moved away. You are protected before you are even aware that you need protecting. And it's not just about pain. Your reflexes also adjust your balance when you trip. They straighten your posture when you lean too far. They contract your pupils in bright light, and they make your eyes blink when dust floats too close. You are surrounded by invisible safety nets, stitched together with nerve and instinct. The beauty of reflexes lies in their silence. They don't demand attention. They don't carry emotion. They're not dramatic. They are gentle mechanisms that respond with speed and precision, like quiet caretakers. Even your digestion has reflexes. The rhythmic contractions that move food through your intestines. That's a reflex too, known as peristalsis. You never have to ask your body to digest. It just does. Like breathing, like blinking. And then there are the vestibulo-ocular reflexes, hidden deep in your head. When you move your head from side to side, your eyes automatically move in the opposite direction, so that the world doesn't blur. You don't notice this dance, but it happens constantly, allowing you to walk, run, or turn while keeping your gaze steady. Some reflexes are with you from the moment you are born. A baby, minutes old, will instinctively grip a finger placed in its palm. That's the palmar grasp reflex, a primitive holdover from the days when newborns needed to cling tightly. There's also the startle reflex, when loud sounds make an infant fling their arms wide. Reflexes are ancestral echoes, behaviors passed down from generations of bodies that learned how to survive. Not all reflexes stay forever. Some fade with time, as the brain matures and takes on more conscious control. Others remain, quietly working in the background. They are timeless tools that your nervous system never stops using. When you walk in your sleep, or drive a familiar road without remembering the journey, your reflexes are there. They guide your steps, steer your hands. They carry the memory of action, the pattern of behavior. You are never fully without them. Even emotional reactions can have reflexive qualities. A racing heart before a speech, sweaty palms before a test. These are remnants of the fight or flight response, another reflex loop designed to keep you alive. Your body senses threat, even imagined ones, and prepares. Faster breathing, sharper focus, tensed muscles. Again, all without asking your permission. But reflexes aren't flawless. They can be tricked, exaggerated, or slowed. Neurological disorders like multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's disease can alter reflex pathways, making once smooth movements jerky or delayed. Aging also affects reflex speed. The arc gets slower, the loop more hesitant. But even then, the body tries. It adapts. And here's something remarkable. You can train your reflexes. Athletes, musicians, dancers, all rely on refined reflexes. Through repetition and practice, they shorten the gap between stimulus and response. A baseball player doesn't think about swinging at a fastball. The body just does it. It learns. In this way, reflexes are both ancient and evolving. They are born from biology, but sculpted by experience. And they are with you now, as you lie still, perhaps eyes heavy, perhaps almost asleep. Your body is not idle. It is gently working, blinking, breathing, adjusting. It listens for sounds you ignore. It steadies your heartbeat. It keeps your airway open. So even when you rest, you are guarded. You are not alone inside yourself. There are systems within you that move like tides, without your notice, without complaint. And if blinking is a reflex, a simple act of muscle and nerve, then how does it also protect something so delicate, so exposed, so vital? What is the story of the eyelids, those graceful protectors that lower like curtains across your world? What are they really made of, these tiny shields that never sleep for long? Your eyelids move like waves, slow, rhythmic, effortless. You don't notice them most of the time, and that's their gift. They work in silence, guarding the windows of your world. Like theater curtains drawn between scenes, they know just when to fall and rise again, never asking for attention, only offering protection. Each time they close, even for the briefest moment, they create a pause. A blink, yes, but also a breath. A moment where the outside dims and the inner world has a chance to soften. Behind that movement is a quiet brilliance, muscles working in harmony, nerves carrying signals without you knowing, skin folding in perfect symmetry like origami sculpted by time. Your upper eyelid is light but strong, a thin arc of muscle and tissue designed for motion. It's mostly the upper lid that closes over your eye, drawn down by a muscle with a name as gentle as its function, the orbicularis oculi. This circular muscle wraps around your eye like a wreath, and when it contracts, your eyelid glides down like a velvet shade. No creaking, no hesitation, just smooth descent, again and again. And then there's its partner, the levator palpebri superioris. It lifts. It pulls your eyelid back open. It's the wakeful half of the blink, the opening gesture that says, I'm still here, still watching. All this happening in fractions of a second, over and over, thousands of times each day. But even rest has its architects. When you sleep, your eyelids don't just shut down. They take on a new role, sentinels guarding your dreams. Behind them, your eyes may move rapidly during REM sleep, darting back and forth as your mind wanders through memory and imagination. The eyelids stay closed, shielding your vision, letting light fade and thoughts rise. Eyelashes, too, play their part. Not just beauty, but biology. They are early warning systems, sensing dust and air movement. If something brushes against them, your blink is already on its way. They're like delicate fences at the edge of a cliff, subtle but life-saving. And they hold a small charge, believe it or not, static electricity that helps repel airborne particles, keeping your eyes a little safer with each flutter. Beneath the skin of your eyelids lie layers of muscle, fat, and connective tissue, each placed with purpose. There are glands too, meibomian glands, tiny oil factories hidden within the lid. With every blink, they release a thin film of oil that floats atop your tears. This oil prevents evaporation, keeping your eyes from drying out. It's like sealing a lake beneath a layer of calm. And then there's the skin, some of the thinnest on your entire body. It stretches and folds gently with each blink, built to move and flex without fail. Over time, it may wrinkle and crease, but its purpose doesn't fade. Even with age, the eyelids keep on dancing, slower, perhaps, but still precise. Your eyelids are also storytellers. They reflect your feelings without needing words. When you're tired, they droop. When you're surprised, they rise. In fear, they tighten. In sadness, they close a little longer. This choreography of muscle and nerve becomes a language, soft-spoken, but deeply understood. Others read your eyes, even when you don't speak, and your eyelids are the pages they turn. These small movements connect to larger systems, emotional circuits in the brain, motor pathways in the brainstem, cranial nerves that move like silent messengers through the shadows of your skull. One of the key players is the facial nerve, the seventh cranial nerve. It sends the order to blink, to squeeze, to signal that a moment has touched you, emotionally or physically. But eyelids aren't just reactive. They anticipate. Before a gust of wind reaches your eye, your lid may twitch. When something comes close to your face, they prepare to shut. This is not instinct in the way we often think of it. It's faster than thought. It is reflex married to memory, trained over millions of years. Consider a moment when you nearly fell asleep during a long afternoon. You felt it, the heaviness in your lids. That slow collapse. That surrender. The muscles that once flickered without effort now struggle to rise. That's your body whispering. It's time to let go. Time to turn inward. Your eyelids begin the ritual of sleep even before your thoughts drift away. And in that sleep, they are the first gatekeepers of darkness. When closed, they block out most light, but not all. They allow just enough in to hint at the world. The glow of moonlight through a curtain, the flicker of sunrise against your dreams. This is why, even in slumber, you sometimes sense the morning. Your eyelids are still at work, soft filters between light and night. Sometimes they twitch in your sleep, tiny pulses known as hypnic jerks. A sudden flicker, a shadow of wakefulness that slips in like a ripple on calm water. Your lids may shudder as your body lets go of tension. Scientists believe it's a remnant of ancient sleep transitions. Your nervous system briefly unsure if you are falling or resting. Even here, your eyelids are participants in your nightly voyage. If something startles you awake, they're already moving, snapping open to scan the room. Your eyelids can switch from rest to alertness in an instant, showing just how deeply connected they are to your brain's readiness. And when morning finally comes, when your mind stretches into the day, it is your eyelids that open the world to you once more. That first blink, that slow lift, it's not just vision returning. It's life rising. Yet in all their busyness, your eyelids are rarely celebrated. We honor our hearts for beating, our lungs for breathing. But your eyelids, quiet, tireless engineers, work in a rhythm just as vital. They are the pause between every frame of your life. And as they close again tonight, gently, slowly, it's not just to shut the world out. It's to let the world in, a different world, one shaped not by light, but by rest. Because when you sleep, there is more at work behind your eyes than silence. And through that silence, something else stirs, a soft chemistry, a silent stream. Your tears, not of sadness, but of care, quietly begin their nightly task. Your eyes know how to weep, even when your heart does not. And so they do, quietly, constantly, not in sobs or sighs, but in tiny droplets you barely notice. You blink, and your eye drinks from a pool it created for itself. Each time your lids meet, like the closing of gentle curtains, they sweep across your eye a fine, glistening film, a tear. But this tear is not born of grief. It is not shaped by memory or loss. It is made of purpose, not pain. A silent caretaker working around the clock. Your tears are a delicate blend, part water, part oil, part mucus. 3 thin layers, floating atop one another in perfect harmony. The outermost layer is oily, like the sheen on a calm lake at dusk. It smooths the surface, slows evaporation, keeps your tears from vanishing too soon. Beneath that is water, clear and clean, rich with nutrients and oxygen. This is the layer that washes, cools, and nourishes. And closest to your eye, clinging like a secret, the mucus layer. It binds the tear to the cornea, anchoring liquid to surface like dew to a petal. All this, all 3 layers, are replenished every time you blink. You don't command it. You don't think about it. But your eyes do. They know how to care for themselves. Even as you dream, even as you forget, they remember. This film, this tear, is more than moisture. It is your eyes' invisible armor, a shield against dust, pollen, and the whisper of the wind. A guard that never grows tired. If even one layer falters, you feel it. A sting, a blur, a tiny ache at the edge of awareness. Sometimes your body weeps from emotion, and those tears are different. They spill more freely, flowing from deeper wells. Emotional tears carry hormones, like tiny messages in bottles, chemicals shaped by stress or joy or sorrow. And when they leave your eyes, they carry something else away, too. Not just salt and water, but tension, heaviness, release. But most of your tears never fall. They do not stream down your cheeks or catch the light. They simply rest on your eye like a lake on a windless night. You blink and they move. You sleep and they keep vigil. A small set of glands, lacrimal glands, rest above your eyes, hidden in the folds near your temples. They are the silent architects of your tears. They measure, mix, and release. Never too much, never too little. Like tiny chemists with perfect rhythm. A drop here, a drop there. And when something invades, a speck of dust, a sudden gust, they respond with a flood. That's not a mistake. That's protection. Your eyes know the difference between everyday care and urgent defense. They weep with purpose. They flush out what doesn't belong. Some creatures, like reptiles and birds, blink sideways and produce different kinds of tears. But in mammals, and in you, there is emotion mixed with biology. You are one of the few beings whose tears speak both chemistry and feeling. That duality lives in your eyelids, in the wet edge of your sight. And sometimes, when you're too tired, your tears change again. They thicken, or slow. They leave your eyes dry and scratchy, craving rest. This too is a message, a whisper from your body. It's time to close the curtains now. You may not always hear what your tears are saying, but they speak in the language of care. Invisible, constant, unconditional. They coat your eyes in softness. They remind you that even the smallest parts of you are worthy of tending. Every blink is a renewal. Every tear, a quiet reset. In a world that demands so much from you, your tears give back, asking for nothing. And when you finally cry, not from dust, but from heartbreak, your tears remember their older task. They carry sadness and saline. They drop your weight onto your cheeks. They offer you a way to release what words cannot hold. But that is not the whole story of tears. Most of the time, they are not about sorrow at all. They are about clarity, about light passing cleanly through the window of your eye, about keeping your vision smooth and sharp and safe. So tonight, as your eyes grow heavy, know that your tears will keep flowing, quietly, faithfully, long after sleep finds you. They are the reason your sight returns with ease each morning. They are the comfort you never knew you needed. And even as your body rests, your eyes continue their secret work. A drop here, a blink there, a silent cycle of care. Soon, we will turn toward the light itself, and the strange ways your eyes respond, not just to brightness, but to change. Light finds you. It pours in through your open eyes, even when you're not looking for it. A silent, constant visitor. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask permission. It simply arrives, brushing against the surface of your eyes, warming your skin, whispering to your brain. And your pupils, small black mirrors at the center of your eyes, listen. You may not notice, but they respond every single time. Your pupils shrink when light floods in. They widen when shadows fall. They are not passive holes. They are active, shifting doors, adjusting to brightness, controlling entry, helping you see clearly without being overwhelmed. It's a quiet reflex, precise and protective. A fraction of a second, and your pupils tighten like a camera lens exposed to sudden daylight. Not because you choose it, but because your brain already knows what to do. It anticipates the blaze and shields you before you feel the sting. Step outside after waking, and the sunlight pushes into your eyes. You squint, not just to shut it out, but because your pupils are still wide from sleep. During the night, they opened fully, trying to catch every trace of dim light like nets cast into darkness. Now, in the morning, they retreat quickly, narrowing to protect the fragile cells that line your retina, the light-sensitive film at the back of your eye. This dance, the rhythm of expanding and contracting, is called the pupillary light reflex. It begins deep in the eye and ends in the brain. As light enters your pupil, it touches a layer called the retina, where two types of cells, rods and cones, wait like sentinels. Rods love dimness. Cones prefer color and brightness. Together, they convert light into electrical signals that travel along the optic nerve toward the brain. But not all of this light is used to build images. Some of it triggers another pathway, one that bypasses thought entirely. A small portion of that signal is diverted to a cluster of brain cells tucked in the midbrain, known as the pretectal nucleus. From there, the message travels again, this time to a paired structure called the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. You don't need to remember its name. Just know it as the place where the decision to shrink the pupil is quietly made. From that point, the signal flows down the nerves to the iris, the colored ring of muscle around your pupil. This iris tightens, and the pupil, the dark circle in the center, becomes smaller, like the aperture of a camera closing to let in just the right amount of light. It's a system of signals and reactions, loops and responses, all unfolding within moments, all without your awareness. When light fades, the opposite occurs. Your pupils open wide again. You may not see clearly at first. Everything feels soft, vague, unsure. This is your eyes adjusting, rebalancing, gathering light slowly until the world regains form. This dance of the pupils isn't just about protection. It's about balance. It's about regulating clarity, ensuring that just enough light enters your eye to help you see, without flooding your delicate inner world. It also responds to more than just brightness. Your pupils shift with emotion. Have you ever noticed how, when you're startled or excited, your eyes feel suddenly different, more awake, more focused? That's your sympathetic nervous system in action, releasing adrenaline, widening your pupils to let in more of the world. It's preparing you to see clearly, to react quickly. In fear, they open wide. In deep focus, they may narrow. This is called psychosensory pupillary response, an elegant name for something you've likely experienced many times without knowing. Even your interest and attention change the size of your pupils. When you look at someone you love, your pupils may dilate. When you see something you dislike or find boring, they might shrink. Your eyes react not just to the world, but to how you feel about it. In this way, your pupils become emotional mirrors, tiny, silent windows into your mood, desire, and attention. And still, you remain unaware. All of this happens quietly, beneath thought, beneath choice. A concert of muscles, nerves, and reflexes keeping you safe, keeping you connected, keeping you balanced in the light. Even more curiously, your two pupils move together. If light hits only one eye, both pupils still react, a phenomenon known as the consensual light reflex. It's a strange name for a beautiful truth, that your eyes are never working alone. Your brain binds them together, constantly comparing light levels between the two and adjusting them as a pair, even if only one eye sees the light. They are teammates, responding in harmony to every flicker, every glow. Now imagine this. You're lying in bed at night. The room is dim. You're holding a book or a screen. The light is low, but your pupils have adjusted. They've stretched wide, pulling in as much detail as they can. You begin to feel sleepy. Your eyelids grow heavy. As your brain winds down, the activity in your eyes doesn't stop, it slows. The pupil reflex continues, but more lazily now. The signals take longer, the response softer. Melatonin, the hormone of darkness and sleep, is rising in your bloodstream. Your pupils no longer need to adjust to every flicker. The world is growing still. This calming of the eyes is part of the greater slowing of your body, the descent toward rest. It's also why screens at night can feel harsh. The blue light they emit mimics daylight, tricking your brain into alertness, narrowing your pupils, and suppressing melatonin. This is why gentle lighting, warm hues, and darkness matter so deeply at night. They signal safety. They allow the pupils to open slowly, signaling to the rest of you, it's time to sleep. And sleep itself changes everything. In REM sleep, your pupils twitch and flutter, sometimes shifting in size. Your brain is dreaming. Your eyes follow movement even when your body is still. In other stages of sleep, they are steady, wide, or narrow depending on your brain's chemical rhythm. Even here, in your deepest rest, Your pupils remain part of the orchestra. They are quiet dancers, responding not just to the outer world, but to the world within. There is no switch you flip to make it all happen. There is no lever to pull. There is only trust in the rhythms of your body, in the precision of a system evolved over millennia. A blink, a breath, a shift in light, a widening, a narrowing, over and over again. So much of your body is responding to light, not just your eyes, but your skin, your brain, your blood. Light doesn't just illuminate objects. It touches your biology. It moves your internal clocks. It tells you when to wake, when to rest, when to blink. And in the dark, when that signal fades, your pupils stretch open like small galaxies. But what happens when your eyes move and the world doesn't blur? When you blink and nothing jumps? How does your brain keep everything so still, even when the screen of vision momentarily goes dark? You blink, and yet the world holds. You move, and yet your vision is clear. What quiet miracle makes that possible? What part of your brain is painting reality behind your eyes, even when the light disappears? Let's step into that secret now, into the stillness that lives within motion. You blink, just for a moment, not even half a second. The world disappears behind the gentle curtain of your eyelids. And then, just as quietly, it returns. But did it ever really leave? It's one of the quiet miracles of being human. You blink more than 15,000 times a day. That's thousands of brief, total blackouts. And yet, the world in front of you never skips, never shakes, never seems to flicker. The street stays where it was. The person you're talking to doesn't vanish and reappear. Reality flows, steady and whole, even when your eyes close again and again. How? Let's begin with the simplest answer. Your brain cheats. But not in a bad way. In a brilliant, beautiful way. Your brain is not just a receiver of images. It's a sculptor of experience. Every time your eyelids close, your visual system edits the moment out, smoothing over the interruption like an expert film editor cutting between frames. You don't notice the gap because your brain decides you don't need to. So it quietly fills it in, not with falsehoods, but with faith. It assumes the world hasn't changed, and so it presents it to you as continuous. It's called visual suppression, and it begins even before your eyelids touch. A split second before you blink, your brain's visual cortex, the area at the back of your head that processes what you see, briefly goes quiet. It turns down the volume on visual input, as if anticipating the interruption. This is not a passive shutdown. It's an active process. Your brain is taking care of you. It knows the blink is coming. It knows the signal will go dark. So it gently dims the internal lights in preparation. Imagine a calm, darkened theater between acts. Nothing frantic, nothing jarring. Just a soft pause before the curtain rises again. And this isn't the only time your brain fills in blanks. Even when you move your eyes, a motion called a saccade, your gaze shifts so quickly that the world should blur. But it doesn't. Your brain masks that blur, erases the flicker, and replaces it with a smooth story. You don't feel like you're watching a movie with jump cuts. You feel like you're living inside a stream of motion. And that's because you are, but it's a stream your brain is gently shaping. Now, think of this. The back of your eye, the retina, captures images like a camera, but it doesn't send photographs to your brain. It sends patterns, electrical impulses that have to be interpreted. The world you see is built in your brain. It's not just collected like data from a sensor. It's imagined, assembled, interpreted. In a way, every time you blink, your brain paints the missing frame. And because it's painting it based on everything it saw a moment before, it tends to get it right. That object was still. That face wasn't changing. That tree was standing tall. So your brain gently assumes it still is. Of course, if something moves suddenly while you're blinking, a ball flying past, a cat darting across the floor, your brain might miss it. That's why a blink can sometimes feel like magic. One moment something is there, the next it's not. But that's rare. Most of life is steady enough for your brain's quiet edits to go unnoticed. There's another part of your brain that helps with this, the superior colliculus, tucked deep in the midbrain. It helps guide eye movements and attention. It knows when you're about to blink, and it communicates with other regions, including those responsible for movement and vision, to keep everything coordinated. It's like a silent conductor, ensuring the orchestra doesn't stumble, even when the lights flicker. Your brain, you see, is not just a processor. It's a predictor. It doesn't wait to see what happens next. It guesses. And when your eyelids briefly block the world, your brain steps in with a gentle assumption. Everything is still as it was. This trust in continuity is what keeps the world stable. Even deeper, your sense of self relies on this. The uninterrupted flow of sights around you is part of what makes you feel present, grounded. If your visual world jittered with every blink or eye shift, you'd feel disconnected, unsettled. But instead, you feel like you're always here. Your body and brain work together to create that sensation, that unbroken thread of now. This process is so effective, so quiet, that most people never question it. The illusion of seamless vision is total, until you start thinking about it. And now, you are thinking about it. You're starting to notice how your brain works not just as a watcher, but as a weaver, threading each visual moment together like soft beads on a string. You blink, and the thread is pulled gently forward. No knots, no phrase, just the smooth continuity of being. So the next time you blink, even now, in this moment, remember that your brain is caring for you. It's smoothing the edges, painting the picture, keeping you anchored in the flow of time and light. You close your eyes, and the world remains. You open them, and nothing has changed. Or has it? You see, not every blink is just about protection. Some blinks mean something else. Some carry emotion. Some speak, even when your mouth is still. Your blinking, it turns out, may say more than you realize. And so we drift into that idea, the language of your eyes, the emotion behind every blink, and how your body quietly speaks its inner world to the outside. You're not always aware of how much you're saying with your eyes. You speak, without speaking, every time you blink. It's subtle, like a whisper behind a closed door, or a ripple on the surface of still water. Yet these tiny movements, these brief closures of the world, carry stories. When you feel nervous, your blinks arrive in clusters. When you're focused, they disappear as if your eyes hold their breath. When you feel sadness, your blinks slow down, lingering like a sigh. Your body doesn't wait for you to find the right words. It already knows how you feel, and your blinks, fluttering across your face, are part of that silent honesty, an unspoken language that moves through your muscles, through your nerves, through your gaze. It begins deep in the brain. A small structure, tucked near the center of your head, called the basal ganglia, plays a role in how often you blink. This cluster of neurons is involved in movement, but also in motivation and emotional tone. When your mood changes, when you're excited, bored, anxious, or at ease, this region shifts gears. And so do your blinks. When you're relaxed, your blink rate settles into a steady rhythm, about 10 to 20 times per minute. Enough to keep your eyes nourished, but not so much that you notice. But when you're tense or uneasy, your blink rate rises. It becomes jittery, unpredictable. It's as though your body is trying to shield your eyes from too much light, too much connection, too much vulnerability. You may not notice it, but others might. Because we're wired to read each other through our eyes. Not just what they look at, but what they do. Your blink is part of your expression. It softens your stare. It punctuates your gaze like periods and commas in a sentence. When someone flutters their lashes, it might signal interest, nervousness, flirtation, or discomfort, depending on the rhythm. A blink too fast can seem evasive. A blink too slow can feel intense. It's not something you do consciously. It's something your body knows. Even actors study this. The rhythm of a blink can add depth to a scene, a subtle pause between thoughts, a shift in emotion too quick to say aloud. In film, a single well-placed blink can break a heart. But blinking isn't only about communication with others. It's also how your brain communicates with itself. When you blink, something gentle happens inside your head. Your mind recenters. Your attention resets. In fact, studies show that blinking acts like a tiny mental refresh button. It creates a micro moment of disengagement, a breath in the stream of awareness. That's why, when you're deeply focused, like when you're reading a gripping novel or watching a suspenseful scene, your blink rate drops dramatically. You barely notice your eyes drying until they beg for a break. It's as if your brain is trying to hold the door open just a little longer, afraid of missing something. Then, when the tension lifts, your eyes blink more, catching up, regulating, restoring. In moments of social tension, your blink rate tells the room how you're feeling. Police interrogators have observed that suspects under stress often blink rapidly. Not always a sign of guilt, but a sign of internal conflict. The eyes reveal what the lips hide. In contrast, people who are deeply engaged in conversation may mirror each other's blinks, falling into a kind of unspoken rhythm. This is known as synchrony, and it's one of the ways humans connect without needing language. Just as our heartbeats can align during shared experiences, so can our blinks. And then there's emotion itself, how it lives in your eyes. When you cry, your blink rhythm changes entirely. The tears blur your vision, and the blinks come slower, more deliberate, like wiping fog from a window. The emotional tear is a message from inside, a signal that you are moved, overwhelmed, open. It's a surrender. The blink, during crying, becomes more than mechanical. It becomes a kind of gesture of release. You may have noticed that you blink more when you're speaking than when you're listening. That's not by accident. Talking requires more mental processing. Your brain juggles words, emotions, and tone. And in between those spoken thoughts, your eyes flutter, not just for moisture, but for rhythm. Your blink becomes a bridge between thoughts, a punctuation mark, a pause for breath. Even infants show emotional blinking patterns. Before they learn to talk, their eyes are already speaking. They blink more when they're startled or soothed. Their eyes widen when curious, narrow when tired. And mothers, without even realizing it, begin to match that rhythm. The bond begins in blinks. It's quiet, but it's there. A choreography of care. In adults, blinking can even influence memory. One study showed that people who blinked just after viewing an emotional image were more likely to remember it, as if the blink tucked the moment into a mental drawer, sealed it away with a gentle press. There's a rhythm in all this, a delicate ebb and flow that mirrors the emotional tides within you. Blinking is not just a reflex. It's not just moisture. It's music. Your brain, your heart, and your eyes are playing a quiet symphony together. You don't always hear it, but your body listens. And in those rare moments of deep connection, when you lock eyes with someone and the rest of the world softens, your blinking slows, your body stills, and time feels like it stretches just a little. You aren't saying anything, but everything is being said. Your eyes close. They open. They close again. And in those tiny absences, in those flickers of darkness, your emotions echo. Even now, as you lie here in the soft dark, your eyes know what to do. They blink without permission, but not without meaning. Because emotion isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's the softest gesture that says the most. And just as blinking reveals the mood of your heart, there's another rhythm preparing your body for rest. One that slows as the night deepens. A rhythm not just in your eyes, but in your entire being. You don't notice it at first. The blinks just come a little slower, a little longer. Your eyes linger shut for half a second more than before, and your thoughts begin to drift between light and shadow. The world starts to feel softer at the edges. The once crisp outlines of your day begin to blur into something quieter. You blink again, and this time, it feels like a pause, not just for your eyes, but for your whole body. This is no accident. Your body has been gently guiding you towards sleep for hours now. Not with loud commands or jarring signals, but with a delicate choreography of chemical whispers and sensory clues. Blinking, that small, mechanical flutter, is one of the softest signs that sleep is coming. Throughout your day, your blink rate changes with your attention. When you're focused, it slows. When you're tired, it speeds up. But when sleep begins to rise within you, something different happens. Your blinks become less about sight and more about surrender. Each one becomes a small letting go, a flicker of retreat from the waking world. Melatonin, often called the sleep hormone, begins to stir in the background. Produced by your pineal gland, a tiny, pinecone-shaped organ deep inside your brain. Melatonin doesn't knock you out. It simply dims the lights, setting the mood for rest. As evening falls and the sun disappears, your body senses the fading light through your eyes. Special cells at the back of your eye, called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, detect the absence of blue light and send a signal inward. It's time to prepare. You may not feel the melatonin immediately, but it's there, like a slow falling curtain. Your body temperature drops a degree, your heart rate softens, and your eyelids begin to feel like they belong somewhere else. Closed, resting, at peace. The muscles around your eyes, the orbicularis oculi, are no longer on alert. They begin to slacken, to ease their grip. Even the tiny levator palpebrae, which helps hold your eyelid open, grows tired. This is muscle fatigue, but it's also something more poetic, a yielding. The waking systems of your body begin to dim, and the quiet ones rise up in their place. Your blinks become longer, more unpredictable, some may last a few seconds. Sometimes your eyes close without reopening, not as a decision, but as a drift. Your mind follows, softly, like a leaf riding the current. Inside your brain, the electrical patterns are shifting. When you're alert, your brain buzzes with beta waves, fast, focused rhythms. But as melatonin weaves its way through your bloodstream, these waves slow. Alpha waves begin to ripple through your cortex, bringing calm. You may feel this as drowsiness or a sense of quiet expansion. Then theta waves emerge, the brain's gentle sighs, leading you into the first stages of sleep. Your eyes, even when closed, are still part of this journey. Have you ever noticed your eyes rolling gently beneath your lids as you fall asleep? That's the beginning of REM, rapid eye movement, a stage of sleep where your brain begins to dream, even as your body rests in stillness. But before dreams take hold, there is a period of soft descent. Your blinks, heavy and slow, are the bridge into that other world. Sometimes, just before sleep, you may experience something called a hypnic jerk, a sudden twitch that startles you awake. It can feel like falling or like tripping in a dream. Scientists believe this is your body double-checking itself, making sure you're truly safe to let go. A last-minute reflex, like a lighthouse blink, saying, "Are you sure it's time?" Even that twitch is part of the sleepy signal system. It means your muscles are relaxing deeply enough that your brain, in its caution, sends one last check-in. You blink, you drift, and then the body surrenders. There's something deeply trusting about sleep. You must let go of awareness, of control, of thought. And blinking is one of the first signs that you're willing. A small gesture, repeated hundreds of times a day, now becomes the doorway. You don't need to think your way into sleep. In fact, trying to do so only pushes it further away. Sleep comes when you let your body speak, in its language of chemicals and reflexes, of slow breath and soft blinks. It comes when your eyelids feel like they weigh just a little more than usual, when the light behind your eyes turns to shadow, when silence begins to feel like a friend. As your eyes stay closed a little longer, your brain continues its gentle descent. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, problem-solving, and decision-making, begins to quiet. The amygdala, where emotions live, softens. Even your memory system slow, like a librarian turning out the lights for the night. And still, the blink remains, even in dreams. REM sleep is marked by bursts of eye movement beneath closed lids. Scientists aren't yet sure why your eyes move during dreams, but some believe they're mirroring the visual nature of what you see inside your mind. Your inner world becomes vivid, and your eyes respond, quietly, in sleep. In a way, blinking has never really been about seeing. It's always been about adjusting, reacting, protecting, preparing. And in the quiet hours, when the day folds itself away, blinking prepares you to leave the world behind. Not forever, just for a few hours. Just long enough to restore, to renew, to reset. You blink again. Only this time, you don't reopen your eyes. The darkness feels gentle now. Your muscles are soft. Your breath has slowed. The signals have been sent, received, accepted. Your body, Your eyes, your mind, they are all finally in agreement. It is time. And as sleep gathers in the corners of your thoughts, a question begins to form, slowly, softly. Not one that needs an answer, but one that invites reflection. What happens when blinking no longer works the way it should? When something so small, so automatic, begins to falter? What then? You blink without thinking most of the time. It's a gentle habit, a rhythmic whisper your body performs every few seconds. But sometimes that whisper falters. Sometimes the body forgets to do what it has always done. Or perhaps it tries, and something interrupts the signal. Tonight, let's explore what happens when the blink, that tiny guardian of your eyes, goes quietly wrong. Imagine standing outside on a windy day. Dust flutters in the breeze, and your eyes begin to feel dry. Usually, you would blink, automatically, effortlessly. But for some people, that blink comes too late, too little, or not at all. Dry eye isn't just a passing discomfort. It's a signal, a quiet alarm that something in the blink system isn't working as it should. Perhaps the tear film is too thin. Maybe the eyes are open too long between blinks. Or maybe the glands that make the soothing layers of moisture, oil, water, and mucus aren't producing enough. You feel it as a scratch, a sting, or a tired ache. You might not even notice it at first, just a subtle sense that something is off. The body, ever adaptive, tries to help. You blink more, rub your eyes, squint. But sometimes, the tears that come are not the right kind. They wash, but they do not heal. In this space of quiet imbalance, your eyes begin to work harder. They strain. Vision may blur. You may close your eyes, not out of peace, but out of need. The simple act of blinking becomes something you must now remember to do. The reflex is no longer reflexive. But dry eye is only one way blinking can be disrupted. There are deeper places in the body where things can quietly go astray, like hidden currents beneath still water. In the brain, a structure called the brainstem helps control blinking. It's an ancient region, tucked deep and low, guiding many of the body's automatic movements. When something affects this area, an injury, a disease, or a misfiring signal, blinking can slow down or become irregular. In people with Parkinson's disease, for example, blinking often becomes less frequent. The world may remain too long in the light, the eyes too long exposed. The facial muscles, once fluid and expressive, become still. It's called facial masking, a flatness not of feeling, but of motor delay. The blink, once so full of life and rhythm, becomes a rare event. There are other conditions, too. Bell's palsy, a temporary paralysis of facial nerves, can make it difficult to blink one eye. The eyelid may droop. The moisture dries. One side of the world feels less protected. Or consider blepharospasm, a condition where the eyelids blink too much, clenching shut without control, interrupting vision with unwanted darkness. Each of these moments, whether too many blinks or too few, reveals just how finely tuned your body truly is. The blink may be small, but its balance is everything. Like the pendulum in a grandfather clock, it keeps time for your eyes, and when it falters, you notice the silence. And yet, in all this quiet malfunction, there is something remarkable. The body tries. It compensates. It learns. It adapts. Doctors may prescribe artificial tears, drops that mimic the natural tear film, giving the eyes relief. Others may suggest blinking exercises, warm compresses, or medications that stimulate tear production. For some, small silicone plugs can be placed in the tear ducts, helping tears stay longer on the surface of the eye, a gentle barrier against dryness. Even in dysfunction, the body's systems speak to each other. They adjust. They ask for help. And in this dialogue of cells and nerves and muscle fibers, healing often begins. You may not have noticed before just how resilient your eyes are, but each time something goes wrong, and you find your way back to comfort, you see it clearly, not just with vision, but with understanding. There's a quiet heroism in the everyday. Sometimes, the systems that carry you through life do so invisibly. Their success is in their silence. But when they falter, you begin to see how much care and coordination is required to simply see, to blink, to exist without effort. The nervous system, your internal messenger, is delicate but powerful. A soft conductor guiding muscles, timing reflexes, protecting vision with near-perfect consistency, until something interrupts it. And when it does, you begin to ask deeper questions. What else works in the background? What other systems, invisible and constant, hold you gently in their hands? If blinking can slip away unnoticed, what else might be quietly shaping your experience of the world? You close your eyes now, this time intentionally. No twitch, no reflex, just stillness. You feel the air cooling the edges of your lashes. You notice the absence of light, and you understand. This act, so ordinary, is a miracle of timing, coordination, and care. But blinking is not alone. There are other silent dancers within you, other reflexes and rhythms keeping watch. Your pupils, for example, those dark, responsive portals, adjust to light without your command. They widen and narrow with the rise and fall of brightness, matching your mood, your focus, your sleepiness. Like blinking, this too can go wrong. But when it works, as it almost always does, it becomes another wonder you rarely notice. And maybe it's time to notice. The blink is only one movement in a much larger ballet, one that includes the eyes, the pupils, the nerves, and the world that presses gently against your senses. And as your lids grow heavier, and the space between each blink grows longer, you begin to wonder, what else do your eyes understand about light and darkness that you've never had to think about at all? You blink, you breathe, two small things so easily missed. Yet, both are always there, faithful rhythms in the background of your life. You don't command them, not directly. You don't tell your eyelids to close every few seconds, or your lungs to pull in air and let it go. But still they do. The blink and the breath. In a world that often rushes, these are your pauses. Tonight, we come to rest here, in the quiet harmony between the two. Your body is a soft orchestra. Each part has its own instrument. Your heart beats in low percussion, steady and slow. Your breath rises and falls like a gentle cello. And your blinking, a hush of eyelids over vision, is a faint violin stroke, almost silent. No one conductor waves a baton. Instead, this music plays itself, automatic, intelligent, ancient. When you sit still or lie down like now, the tempo slows. Blinking and breathing settle into an unspoken rhythm. Close open. Inhale, exhale. A pair of movements with one purpose, protection, and renewal. You might think blinking and breathing belong to different systems. One for eyes, one for lungs. But really, they share something deeper. Both are controlled by the same quiet part of your brain, the brainstem. It sits at the base of your skull, low and quiet, like a guardian who never sleeps. It doesn't need your permission to keep you alive. It breathes you. It blinks you. It holds your body in motion even when your thoughts have gone still. Here in the brainstem, reflexes meet rhythms. Breathing isn't just a reflex, it's a pattern, a wave, a tide. And blinking, though faster, sharper, is also part of this internal sea. Even now, as you listen, these patterns continue without needing attention. They are the body's lullabies, repeating through every hour of every day. You breathe around 22,000 times each day. You blink around 15,000 times. That's nearly 40,000 small moments of invisible care. No alarms, no reminders, just action. Blinking and breathing are also deeply emotional. Notice how your breath catches when you're surprised. Notice how your blinking speeds up when you're nervous. Your body listens to your mind, even when words aren't used. And in return, your body speaks back in breath and blink and beat. There is a term for this silent communication, interoception. It's your awareness of your inner world, the feeling of your heartbeat, your hunger, your full lungs, your tired eyes. You don't need to name it. You've always known it. It's the reason a slow breath calms you. It's why closing your eyes feels like a kind of trust. It's how you know when rest is near. In meditation, teachers often ask you to return to the breath. But maybe you could also return to the blink. Notice it. Notice the coolness of your eyelids touching down. Notice the way the light changes behind closed lashes. Blinking is not interruption. It is renewal. Breathing, too, is renewal. It is the body's permission slip for presence. A single slow breath reminds you. You are alive. You are here. You are safe. And yet, both blink and breath are more than physical. They are part of your attention system, your way of scanning and resetting your place in the world. When you focus on something intensely, you blink less. When you pause to think, your eyes flicker shut. When you're relaxed, your blinks stretch longer, softer. And your breath? It changes too. Tight with fear, loose with laughter, long with longing. The body responds, adjusts, and recalibrates. It's not magic. It's biology. But biology written in poetry. Even in dreams, you are never fully still. Your eyelids flutter in REM sleep, where dreams live. Your breathing shifts with the scenes your mind imagines. Your body is not frozen. It is rehearsing, learning, processing, letting go. The blink and the breath continue in sleep, carrying you across the night, keeping your systems balanced, restoring you from the inside out. There's a curious fact. When babies are born, they don't blink much. Their eyes stay wide, curious, exposed. Their breath, however, is fast and shallow. As they grow, blinking increases. Breathing slows. It's as if the body learns it's okay to pause. It's safe to blink. It's safe to breathe. Maybe growing up isn't about adding more. Maybe it's about allowing the body to trust itself, to move with grace through effort and rest alike. As you lie here now, feel the space between your blinks. Feel the space between each breath. This is where calm lives, not in the movement, but in the spaces between. You don't have to try. Your body already knows what to do, blinking when it must, breathing when it needs. You are never without rhythm. Even in silence, you are in motion. Tonight, you return to this truth. You are made of patterns, not rigid lines, but soft, repeating waves. Waves that fold in and then fold out again. The blink and the breath, your body's quiet dialogue. The eyes protect, the lungs restore, the brain listens. And somewhere within all of this, you sleep. Maybe the next time you blink, you'll remember that you're not just seeing, you're syncing with yourself, with the world, with the quiet. And maybe the next time you breathe in, you'll know you are a part of something that moves gently, even in stillness. You blink, you breathe. Two rhythms, one body. Two motions, one mind. Together, they carry you toward rest, toward dreams, toward renewal. And as the curtain falls across your vision once more, you might begin to wonder what other tiny movements in your body are working right now to keep you whole. Perhaps the beat of your heart has its own secret stories to tell. Perhaps there's more music in your body, waiting to be heard.